Welcome to my channel Echoes of Coin. A small copper coin from 1927 looks ordinary, almost forgotten, yet it was born just before America's greatest collapse. It passed through confident hands, booming cities, and silent warnings no one noticed. This 1 cent carried hope, risk, and the last breath of a golden age. Hold it closely because this tiny coin knows a secret the world learned too late. The year 1927 sits quietly in American history, yet inside that silence exists a small copper disc that carries stories far heavier than its weight. The 1927 United States 1 cent coin is more than a piece of currency. It is a witness to an era balanced between prosperity and disaster, optimism and collapse, progress and uncertainty. Holding this coin is like holding a frozen second of time, a moment before the world changed forever. In 1927, the United States was deep in what many believed was an endless boom. Factories roared, cities expanded upward, automobiles flooded streets, radios entered homes, and the stock market climbed with dangerous confidence. The 1 cent coin passed from hand to hand in this restless nation, touching shopkeepers, factory workers, farmers, children, and immigrants. It paid for newspapers that announced record profits, candies bought by schoolchildren, and trolley rides through growing cities. No one knew that only 2 years later, the same coin would circulate in bread lines and shattered dreams. The design of the 1927 1 cent coin remained unchanged from earlier years, yet its meaning evolved with the times. On the obverse side stood Abraham Lincoln, his profile calm, firm, and thoughtful. First introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth. This was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1927, Americans were used to seeing Lincoln's face, but his presence still carried symbolic weight. He represented unity, sacrifice, and survival, qualities that the nation would soon need more than ever. Lincoln's gaze on the coin appears forward-looking, almost solemn. Some collectors believe there is an unspoken tension in his expression, as if he senses what lies ahead. In 1927, that expression was merely art. Today, it feels prophetic. The portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, had caused controversy years earlier when they first appeared too prominently. By 1927, the initials were subtly placed on Lincoln's shoulder, accepted and unnoticed by the public. Yet that small detail reminds collectors how even tiny markings can spark debate and emotion. The reverse of the 1927 cent displayed 2 wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. These wheat stalks symbolized agriculture, abundance, and the foundation of the American economy. Ironically, within a few short years, farmers would suffer devastating losses, crops would rot unsold, and wheat would lose its promise. In 1927, however, the image still spoke of stability and nourishment. The metal composition of the coin was simple yet significant. Made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the coin carried real intrinsic value. Copper prices mattered. Each cent had substance, weight, and a distinct ring when dropped. Unlike modern pennies, the 1927 cent felt solid, purposeful. People trusted money then in a way that would soon be tested. The Philadelphia Mint struck the majority of 1927 1 cent coins, producing over 144 million pieces. Denver followed with more than 27 million, and San Francisco added just over 14 million. These numbers may sound massive, but survival rates tell a different story. Millions were lost, worn smooth, melted, or forgotten in jars, drawers, and soil. Each surviving coin today is a small miracle of endurance. Among collectors, the 1927 1 cent holds special fascination. With the lowest mintage of the year, it is harder to find, especially in higher grades. Many examples entered circulation immediately and saw heavy use. Finding one with sharp details, full wheat lines, and minimal wear feels like uncovering a secret preserved against all odds. The scarcity fuels suspense, turning simple searches into long hunts filled with hope and disappointment. Condition is everything in numismatics, and the 1927 cent is no exception. In worn condition, it may appear common, almost ordinary. But as the grade rises, the story changes dramatically. Mint state examples reveal rich red or red-brown surfaces, sharp lettering, and fine details in Lincoln's hair and beard. These coins seem untouched by time, as if they somehow escaped circulation entirely. How did they survive when millions of others did not? That question alone adds mystery. The year 1927 itself carried dramatic undertones beyond economics. Charles Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic solo, capturing the world's imagination and symbolizing limitless possibility. Movies transitioned from silent films to sound, changing entertainment forever. Jazz filled dance halls, and cities pulsed with energy. The 1-cent coin moved silently through all of this, unnoticed but present, a constant companion to transformation. Yet beneath the celebration lurked instability. Credit expanded rapidly. Speculation replaced caution. Wealth appeared abundant, but it was fragile. The 1-cent coin, humble and unchanging, contrasted sharply with the reckless optimism of the era. It was a reminder of small values in a time obsessed with big gains. Children in 1927 often collected pennies, not for rarity, but for play and curiosity. They lined them up on sidewalks, flipped them for games, and saved them in tin boxes. Some of those children would later face the Great Depression as adults. A 1927 cent saved by chance could become a lifeline, or at least a reminder of better days. During the Depression, pennies mattered. A single cent could buy food, a match, or contribute toward survival. Coins minted just a few years earlier suddenly gained new significance. The 1927 cent became part of stories of hardship, sacrifice, and resilience. It was no longer just spare change. It was hope measured in copper. Collectors today often speak of coins as storytellers, and the 1927 1-cent tells many. Its surfaces may show scratches, wear, or discoloration, each mark representing a moment in someone's life. A scratch could be from a factory worker's pocket, a farmer's hand, or a child's game. No two coins lived the same life. The suspense surrounding this coin also lies in its potential value. In circulated condition, it may be modestly priced, accessible to beginners. But in high-grade mint state red condition, especially from San Francisco, values climb sharply. Auction results have shown that pristine examples can command impressive prices, surprising those who underestimate the penny. This gap between ordinary and extraordinary fuels endless searching. Authentication and grading add another layer of tension. Is the color original or altered? Has the coin been cleaned? Are the details sharp enough to justify a higher grade? Each question can dramatically change a coin's fate. Collectors hold their breath as coins are examined under magnification, waiting for verdicts that can elevate or diminish years of effort. The emotional pull of the 1927 1-cent is strong because it represents a turning point. It belongs to the last full years before collapse, when the American dream seemed unstoppable. Knowing what came next changes how we see it. The coin becomes a symbol of innocence before loss, confidence before fear. Even today, these pennies continue to surface in unexpected places. Old collections, inherited boxes, estate sales, and forgotten jars occasionally reveal a 1927 cent. Each discovery sparks excitement, a small rush of adrenaline. Is it Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco? Is it worn or sharp, red or brown, common or rare? The suspense never fades. The artistry of the coin also deserves respect. Brenner's Lincoln remains one of the most enduring designs in U.S. coinage. The balance between realism and simplicity gives the portrait timeless appeal. On the 1927 cent, that artistry is framed by history, enhancing its power. Some collectors believe that certain years carry energy, that coins minted during pivotal moments feel different. Whether superstition or sentiment, many agree that late 1920s coins possess a quiet intensity. The 1927 cent seems to hold its breath, unaware yet destined to witness economic collapse, war preparation, and global change. From a modern perspective, it is tempting to overlook pennies. Inflation has reduced their purchasing power to almost nothing. But the 1927 1 cent reminds us that value is not fixed. It shifts with time, context, and memory. What was once small can become meaningful. As hands pass this coin today, they are not just touching copper. They are touching ambition, uncertainty, and survival. They are touching a year poised on the edge of history. The 1927 United States 1-cent coin does not shout its importance. It whispers it patiently to those willing to listen. And the more closely you listen, the more you realize that this small coin carries a tension that never resolves, a question that never fully answers itself. What other stories passed through its surface? What moments did it witness that were never recorded? How many lives brushed against it without ever knowing its future significance? That unanswered mystery is what keeps collectors searching, historians reflecting, and storytellers returning again and again to the single cent from 1927, a quiet object that refuses to remain silent.